Salam family, this is Unity and I'm here to do a Unity moment. Okay, first I want to thank all who joined my live stream yesterday. I deleted the live stream because when I played it back, it was not clear at all. So I think with the DIYs, I just want to do them just in a video already recorded because for some reason the live stream it didn't I didn't like the quality of it when it played back. But I will upload a video showing y'all what I showed y'all in that video. Um yeah, so will do a video to show y'all that. Again, I just didn't like the quality until I get like a better camera and all that. I should have shot it down here in my front room. I'm always shooting in my work area, but it probably would have showed better. But for some reason, the quality, I just didn't like the quality. So I want to tell y'all about this dream I had. One of my ancestors came and visit me um, early morning. It's so pretty outside right here in Florida, y'all. It is so gorgeous. I was just looking outside. Once I finish doing my front room, I can show y'all my how it looks out there. It's so pretty. You could tell it's gonna rain. But anyway, one of my ancestors came and visited me and through a vision, through a dream last night, early morning. So this how it was. It was like I was like at this kind of like coffee shop. Kind of remind you of like if y'all remember Atlanta Bread Company or Panera Bread Company. It kind of reminded you of that vibe, but it had, was it smaller than them? No, it kind of had that vibe. In in the vision, it showed it was two sisters there. It was a sister there with her daughter. I think it was more people with her, and they was getting some coffee. In the coffee, I remember them saying the name. It was something like tea, it was like in little teacups. And I remember them saying a name, and the name was like it started with an M. And the guy behind the counter, he when they was getting their coffee, I was just listening to them what coffee they got, and then they got it, and the daughter was like, "Mom, this coffee is good. You should." She was like, "No, it's like they're." She was like, "What coffee you got?" And she said, "So and so, so and so." And she was like, "Yeah, ain't it good?" And it was like, "Yeah, it's really good coffee." So, and I'm not a coffee drinker, so that was something interesting that popped up in there. So the guy behind the counter, he asked me, did I want coffee? And I said, no, I wanted, I said, you got some hot cocoa? Because I like hot cocoa. So I said, you got some hot cocoa? I be feeling so weird when I don't have like no earrings in my ear. So y'all look at my hair. It was shade on the side. It's growing back. It's growing back. But um so y'all know I'm messy brain when I be telling my unity moments. So I said, if you got some hot coffee, I would like some hot coffee. I mean, some hot cocoa. So he was like, yeah, I got some hot cocoa. So I remember drinking it, and I remember just being so good. It was like really, really good. So for some reason, I asked the brother behind the counter, because at first I looked out, thought he was like kind of like a dark skinned Arab. But then when I looked at him more, I just said, you Ethiopian? And he was like, yeah, I'm Ethiopian. Make sure I look at the camera. He was like, yeah, I'm Ethiopian. And and then as I was, because it was kind of like with a cash register ad and all that, it had like a chair that you could sit, kind of like a bar. So I was sitting down to, to drink my hot cocoa. And I was telling him, I was like, my mom always told me that I had Ethiopian in me. And I said that when I did my DNA, it showed that I had like 13% Kenyan. And I was like, it's crazy. I say, because when I look at a lot of people DNA results that's Ethiopian, they end up finding that they have Kenya in them. And I say, I said Tanzania, and it's like all that is like literally right. Ethiopia is literally right by each other. And I say, because the people nomadic, and I remember him giving me this look on my face like, yeah, what you saying is true. And then for some reason, he ended up giving me like this bowl of like porridge. It was like oatmeal, but it had rice in it. And I literally seen he put like all these like all these other stuff in it. He put, I'm thinking it was cinnamon and some other stuff, but I remember him putting honey in it too. But it wasn't as thick as oatmeal. It was kind of like, it wasn't as thick as oatmeal, but it was thin, but it had like a oatmeal taste. It was sweet, but I remember him sweetening it with honey. And I done ate my oatmeal with honey plenty of times. I usually use brown sugar, but I mainly use brown sugar. But every now and then, if I don't have no brown sugar, I would use honey. That's just something I always use, honey in my oatmeal. So that was interesting to see that he put honey in his oatmeal. And then, because one of my favorite oatmeals, like when I was younger, was that Quaker's maple and maple and brown sugar. That's like my favorite. But I know that stuff have like a lot of sugar, but that's my like favorite. Besides making it myself without all that sugar and stuff in it. So he put all this stuff in it, but I remember it being kind of like liquidy, and it had like rice in it too. And then I remember tasting it. I'm like, oh my God, this is so good. It is so good. And I remember him giving me some bread, because growing up, I always ate my oatmeal with bread, like wheat bread or like toast. I just always had bread with my oatmeal. And then he gave me some bread, and I remember it being wheat, but it was so good. It tasted like I don't know, it was just a bread, but it was like you could eat the bread without anything. But I remember, it's crazy because a friend of mine's, she popped up in my thing. I need to let her know about it. She popped up, and she like really really revolutionary. She popped up, and it's crazy because she popped up, but she one of her friends was dressed like Salt and Pepper. And that's another thing I'm gonna talk to y'all about too. Um, so one of her friends was dressed like Salt and Pepper. I'm like, you dressed up like Salt and Pepper? I'm like a big Salt and Pepper fan. And then I was like, sis, try. It's crazy because I think all of them was kind of dressed up like the 90s. I don't know if they was going to like a 90s, 80s, 90s party or something. So I say, sis, try this bread. It is so good. So she tasted. Oh, I forgot to tell y'all this part. The sister that was with her daughter, and they was drinking a coffee earlier. For some reason, because they had the little small short coffee cups. Well, I can have some cups. They like little teacups, but they had coffee in them. For some reason, he ended up putting her coffee in a cup to go, and it was sitting there. And I remember grabbing her coffee and pouring some in the oatmeal too. That was interesting. And then I had told her I used a little bit of her coffee in my oatmeal. And she wasn't mad or nothing. And he was just going to make another one. She was like, no, I'm finna get ready to go. Ethiopian coffee must be expensive. I don't know. But that's from the vision I seen. And she was like, no, I'm finna get ready to go. And she put her shades on and she started talking to somebody else. And then it comes back when they end up leaving, and then my friend came, and then they was dressed like Salt and Pepper. I think some was dressed like the 90s, like TLC. And because I'm also a big TLC fan, especially a Left Eye fan. And then I remember I said, taste this bread. And then she tasted the bread. And she was like, this bread is really, really, really good. And then I said, you gotta taste this oatmeal. I say, it is so good. I say, it got rice in it. I say, but it's so good. And she was kind of iffy at first, but I had like a little left because I was tearing that oatmeal up. So she had like a little it was enough in there left, but I wanted to finish it up with my bread, but I wanted to share it with her so she could taste how good it was. But she was like, oh my God, it is good. And then I remember like him showing me like breads and all this type of stuff. And then that was it. So what I got from it is my diet, something I need. I got that my aunt sisters was giving me pointers of, like, I probably eat oatmeal probably like once or twice a week. So maybe I need to eat a little more. But I just felt like they was trying to tell me about my diet. And I need to do better with my diet, because it started talking about, it was like coffee. I don't know. I know coffee beans have like a lot of healing properties. So maybe I'm not a coffee drinker. So maybe might need to look up some Ethiopian coffee. Um, and I remember looking up a video when I first woke up, and it was this white guy. He went and drank some Ethiopian coffee, and he was saying it tastes so good. It tastes like cocoa. And that is crazy, because in the dream, I remember asking for hot cocoa. And so maybe I might need to just try some. I'm not a coffee drinker. And then it was crazy how I always put honey in my porridge. But it had rice, because I know, like, in like Jamaican, in their porridge, they use rice. And then I know, like, a lot of like Spanish people, they use rice in they quote unquote porridge. They'll put like, have like something that looked like oatmeal. So I don't know. And I love rice. So it was interesting. I just felt like, from what I pick up, I just felt like my ancestors was letting me know maybe I need to look into the Ethiopian diet and see what they eat, and maybe that probably will work for me. Because I know, like, when I study about eating for your blood type, a lot of things that they told me I shouldn't eat, I always felt weird when I ate it. And a lot of things that told me I should eat, I always felt good. So I truly believe that one of that brother came to me, and he was my Ethiopian ancestor, and he wanted to let me know about my diet. And guess what, y'all? When I woke up, I made me some oatmeal. And what I put in my oatmeal, I put condensed milk. I put a little condensed milk. I put a little vanilla flavor in my oatmeal. I put butter. I put cinnamon. I put honey, and I put a little bit of brown sugar. And when I tell you, my word is bond to the divine and me and the divine in the universe, that this kind of tastes almost exactly like what I was eating in my vision. Usually I like to put bananas on the top and almonds. And I don't know if it came to me because I had some oxtails. I haven't had oxtails and I don't know when. But for some reason I wanted some oxtails. And they was really good, but they was kind of heavy. And me just thinking about it was an oxtail kind of grossed me out. So maybe that had something to do with it. But it was really good. Oxtails yesterday. Matter of fact, that's one of the reasons why I was late from my live stream. I was like 20 minutes late because I went way across town to get me some ox. I think that's the west side. Is that the west side or the south side? Because I stay on the east side. And I went way over there to get me some oxtails. It was like $15 a plate. And they was so good. But I couldn't really. It was a little heavy. And the good part, it didn't have a lot of meat. Well, some of them did have a lot of meat on it. It had a lot of fat. I don't eat that fat. And they had a lot of beans and rice and cabbage. I don't know if that has something to do with it, but I think in Ethiopian diet, they eat beef. But eat for my blood type, it don't, this oatmeal is so good, y'all. I wish y'all could taste it. Eating for my blood type, it told me I shouldn't eat beef. I know as I get older, it's a little heavy on me. But I wanted to share that with y'all. My ancestors came and told me. Mainly, I need to, I guess, eat more oatmeal. All right. Salam, salam.